Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a relatable family dilemma hosting out-of-town relatives during the holidays. In this story, a couple offers their daughter's spacious room to visiting family, only for the mom-in-law to demand they vacate their master bedroom instead. Balancing family traditions, accommodations, and a touch of sibling rivalry makes for a recipe of drama. But what happens when the homeowner refuses to budge? Stick around as we dive into a tale of boundaries, hospitality, and holding your ground. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Mom insists we give up our master bedroom for visiting family. We said nope. My husband, 26-year-old male, and I, 26-year-old female, recently bought a house. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's a large house, and the bedrooms are decently sized. We have 3 kids, so each of our kids gets a room. Daughter's 8, oldest son is 6, youngest is 4. They all share the upstairs bathroom. My husband and I have the master bedroom and bathroom. My brother and his wife, along with their 1-year-old son, are visiting us for 2 weeks. We told them we'd give them our daughter's room as it's the largest and has a queen-size bed. Our daughter will just sleep in one of our son's rooms. We were planning on making it look real nice in there for them, giving them new sheets and bedding, making sure that all my daughter's things are put away, etc. Anyway, my mother says that my husband and I are being extremely rude and inconsiderate for not giving them our master bedroom and bathroom. She said it's just not right that they'll have to share the upstairs bathroom with our kids while they're here. I honestly didn't think we were being inconsiderate at all. My brother was very happy when I told him they could stay with us because they wouldn't have to pay for a hotel or Airbnb. He didn't seem at all like he minded they would be in our daughter's room. Edit to add a bit more background. My parents and my brother and his family both live across the country. My sister and her husband, along with my family, live within 30 minutes from each other. We decided that we're having Thanksgiving here, so my sister's having my parents stay with her. To put it nicely, my sister's a suck-up. Always has been with my mom, so she offered for my parents to stay in their master bedroom, and my sister and her husband will stay in their other bedroom. I feel like that bit of information might be pertinent to this, just because I think my mom is basically implying that my husband and I are not being as accommodating as my sister is towards them. Second edit. My daughter and I talked, and she told me she's fine giving up her room for the 2 weeks. She's excited to see them, and she said it's no big deal to her. My oldest son has a twin bed in his room, and my youngest has a bunk bed in his room from when the boys were together in our old house. I'm giving my brother and sister-in-law our daughter's room since it's the largest and has a queen bed. I'm probably just going to have my 2 sons just sleep together with the bunk bed and then put my daughter in the room with the twin bed, so she at least has her own space and privacy. Lastly, yes, 2 weeks is a long time, LOL, but my brother and I are very close and we only get to see his family about once a year. It's a sacrifice, and of course it can be stressful, but my whole family's so excited for them to be with us. I think my mother's just being extra delusional and wants to have a say in every single thing that goes on in the family. I'm going to stick to my guns and just tell her that if she's seriously that concerned about it, she can always get them a nice hotel or Airbnb. Oh, wow. Talk about overstepping. Your mom's demands are way out of line. You're offering your brother and his family a free stay in your daughter's spacious room with thoughtful accommodations. That's already incredibly generous. Expecting you to give up your master bedroom for 2 weeks is beyond unreasonable. You're not running a luxury hotel, and you have 3 kids to manage on top of hosting? If I were you, I'd tell her straight up, we're already making sacrifices to host, and this arrangement works for everyone directly involved. Your input is noted, but not needed. Stand your ground. Your house, your rules. And our second story. Supermarket manager mistakes exhausted cyclist for an employee. Awkward apology ensues. About 10 years ago, something occurred. I was watching an emergency phone line night shifts at the time. The worst aspect of the work was having to pedal 10 kilometers to get home every morning as I missed driving at the time. I ride well. I had lights, a helmet, and a fluorescent vest, unless it was raining, in which case it was all fluorescent waterproofs. I wanted to make myself clear to avoid mishaps, even if there were cycle tracks I would use. On the road, there was a 24-hour grocery. Sometimes I would stop in to pick up a bottle of water and a quick breakfast snack. This marked one of those events. One feature about this supermarket was that general staff members wore green shirts, whereas those who worked outdoors typically wore high-vis gear for their own safety in the parking park. The company I worked at offered us black hoodies bearing its name. I'd been looking forward 7 days off after 7 nights in a succession, but by the time I got on my bike, I was fading. Thinking a drink and food would help, I dropped into the grocery, locked my bike, fastened my helmet to my bag, and went in. Given how exhausted I was, the self-scan was a little busy, so there was a queue. I just waited my turn, bottle of water and Danish in hand, not totally awake. "What do you think you're doing?" Then came a voice behind me. "You're on shift." Turning to find one of the store's supervisors glaring and appearing like they intended to hurt me, I felt face-flushed. "Sorry, are you chatting to me?" I said. "Yes, I am. You're hired to move those trolleys outside. You're not here to buy snacks." After 7 nights, I had nothing left and just wanted to get home. I answered gently as best I could. "I think you're mistaken. I don't work here." "Get back to work now," was the reaction. "Otherwise, you're fired." At this time, I got out my phone and started to review the figures. "Would you kindly let me know my manager I'm sacked when I ring him? He'll be over the moon to hear that, definitely." The manager halted as if something had started to dawn on her. "I mean, I know this supermarket chain is one of the biggest in the UK, but I didn't know you had moved into the gas industry, nor had you taken over my employer." On my hoodie, I gestured to the corporate name. My job is preventing people from having gas problems and assisting when they do. My job is not moving trolleys. For this, I had spent 7 nights straight. I confess my voice was raised at this point, but I wanted to get my breakfast, eat it, and go home to sleep. So excuse me for being a bit short with you. My vocal tone reflected what I would have used with a disobedient youngster. By now, the manager had turned white. She realized the truth, and to say she was embarrassed would have been perhaps understated. She started to become somewhat contrite. "Thank you for apologies," paid for my items, then left. Just a little bit extra. A little later, I found myself in a relationship with someone from the shop. I wasn't the first individual this manager had mistook for an employee, according to my partner. She apparently insisted she was correct every time and sought to control everything. After that, my partner ended up being promoted above her and mentioned that her manager stayed really short. Edit. I would want to add some little parts. I value all of your remarks. My small tale would create a lot of curiosity, but I never published it. I'd recently completed 7 12-hour night shifts, so by the time I arrived home and rested, it felt too late to act for everyone who suggested I should have reported her or gone to corporate. And just as a little extra, I now formally work for the same supermarket chain as a manager, but I'm part of the supply chain, so I don't have to wear those green uniforms. Okay, this story is a prime example of misplaced authority and karma. That manager's audacity to berate and fire someone who didn't even work there is astounding. Your response, calmly explaining your actual job and pulling out your phone to call your real manager, was a masterclass in shutting someone down without losing your cool. The fact that she was known for this behavior and eventually got overtaken by your partner in a promotion feels like the perfect ending. It's satisfying to see someone like that get knocked down a peg. If I were you, I'd relish walking by that store, knowing she likely cringed every time she thought about her blunder. And our last story. Karen called cops on me, so I had her car towed. One day, I was enjoying my usual shower routine, which includes playing some music softly from my phone on the bathroom counter. My bathroom window was open for ventilation, but the volume wasn't anything crazy, just loud enough for me to barely hear it over the water. Imagine my surprise when, halfway through my day, the police showed up to respond to a complaint about me blasting music at 6 a.m. and waking up the entire neighborhood. It didn't take long to figure out who was behind this absurdity. Karen, the woman who moved in 2 months ago, has been a thorn in everyone's side. From the moment she moved in, she made it her mission to nitpick every little thing about the neighborhood. I've lived here for 15 years and know all my neighbors, none of whom have ever complained about my music or anything else. This wasn't her first stunt either. A few weeks ago, I hosted a small get-together to celebrate a promotion at work. It wasn't even a late-night rager, just a few friends, some laughter and good vibes. Yet Karen decided that was too much joy for her to handle and called the police on us for noise. When the officers showed up, they didn't even issue a warning. They could tell she was overreacting. One of them even shared a laugh with me about her pettiness. But Karen's antics didn't stop there. This morning, as the officer relayed her complaint about my loud music, I noticed something that made my blood boil. Karen's second car, which she can't fit in her own driveway, was parked in a very clearly marked spot on my property. The sign on my parking space literally says, "No parking, violators will be towed at owner's expense." She'd parked there before, and I'd let it slide, trying to avoid drama. But after her repeated calls to the police and general troublemaking, I realized I'd been too lenient, so I picked up my phone, called the towing company, and had her car removed. When Karen came back to find her precious car missing, she stormed over to my house, pounding on my door like a madwoman. I calmly opened it and said, "If you're here about your car, check the sign. Next time, maybe follow the rules like the rest of us." She sputtered some excuses, but I shut the door in her face, satisfied. Sometimes the best revenge is simply holding people to the standards they expect everyone else to follow. Karen's relentless complaints finally pushed the wrong button when she called the cops over faint morning music. Honestly, I think Karen just wakes up every day looking for someone to annoy. But what really hooked me, her car, blatantly parked in a no parking zone on private property. At that point, I'd say enough's enough. If I were in OP's shoes, I wouldn't have hesitated either. A quick call to the tow company, and boom, problem solved. Watching her stomp over later, all excuses and rage, must have been sweet justice. Rules are rules, Karen. Sometimes karma comes with a towing fee. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.